So here we are again. 2017 is over. Now it's 2018. So of course I'm going to make a video in which I talk at you about my favourite games of 2017. Starting with Nintendo Switch games, because they make up most of this list. Splatoon 2 was the first game I got for my Switch when I picked it up sometime in July, and it was a great starting point. It's a kind of paintball gone mad game in which kids squid hybrids fight to cover the level in as much of their own team coloured ink as possible. There's also ranked modes, but Turf War is Splatoon's signature mode. Bolstered by a strong range of weapons that have strong super abilities means most matches never quite feel the same. And aside from multiplayer, there's a horde-inspired survival mode called Salmon Rush. Up to 4 players fight a wide variety of enemies while looking for boss salmon. Killing those guys drops golden eggs, which are key to making it to the next round. It's a chaotic mode, but it can be a bit hit or miss due to it requiring the players to use specific weapons instead of leaving it to their choice. With a kick-ass soundtrack, a fresh range of customization options, and superb post-release support, Splatoon 2 is a great multiplayer experience. I never really put too much time into the campaign though. And the award for biggest surprise of the year goes to... I mean, let's be real, when this first leaked, I'm sure most people wondered why Nintendo would let this happen. Rabbids are basically the video game equivalent of minions. They were secondary characters that were then suddenly spun off into their own thing, and before anyone knew it, they were suddenly everywhere. Then E3 rolled around. We saw Mario and co shooting rabbids with laser guns and bouncing off each other to make up ground, and all I could think was, holy shit, I'd totally play this game. It's not afraid to take some clear ideas from XCOM, but Kingdom Battle still feels pretty fresh and original in its own right. There's a clear XCOM inspired cover system. Full and half cover are the key to surviving each fight, but Kingdom Battle drops the RNG system for more clear cut hit chances. And when it comes to movement, you can direct one character to team jump off another friendly character, which opens up all new opportunities to flank enemies or reach higher ground. On top of this, there's a great range of characters that bring different weapons and skills to each fight. My one minor frustration with this game is how it forces you to have Mario and at least one Rabbid in your party. On the plus side, Mario is a solid all-arounder type character, and Rabbid Peach had pretty strong healing skills, so I'd usually just round out my squad with Luigi and Peach depending on the type of battles. Kingdom Battle is by far the biggest surprise of this year, but I really enjoyed my time with the game and will even admit I found the Rabbid's insanity pretty damn funny a lot of the time. Yes, I know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a remaster. It first came out in like 2014 or something. But I never owned a Wii U, so I'm putting the Deluxe remaster in my 2018 list. I've always loved Mario Kart from my first experience with Mario Kart 64. It's a simple kart racer, and it always has been. But learning the little tricks and the shortcuts of each track are the real challenges. But even then, it's still just a really fun time. It comes with an unreal amount of tracks that put pretty much any other racing game I can think of to shame, let alone that each one is colourful, has strong themes, design and kick-ass music. If I had to choose, I'd put the Excitebike Arena, Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road and both F-Zero tracks up there as my favourites. It's also the first time I've experienced playing Mario Kart online, and I've loved it. It's far more difficult than racing against the AI, of course, and the races can be highly unpredictable, which brings out my highly competitive side to make each race more thrilling. Mario Kart 8 is a great racing game, and a must-have for Switch owners in my opinion. Just don't ask Owen what he thinks of Mario Kart. It's the guys who make Tekken making a Pokemon fighting game. It has this weird mix of ranged-based combat, which then switches into a more traditional 1v1 fighting phase that really encourages you to learn the tricks of each phase, as well as the strengths and weaknesses of each Pokemon, because they're surprisingly varied. One thing I really like is that the range of Pokemon aren't just the bigger guys. The smaller guys like Weavile and Pikachu that bounce around a lot more, so there's plenty of variety in each fight. I'm forever a God of War fanboy though. That being said, I cannot wait for the first mainline Pokemon game to hit the Switch.
Super Mario Odyssey!
Is it cheating to put Mario on here? I mean, pretty much everyone under the sun knew this was going to be great. Mario is pretty much always great. Even Sunshine. I like Super Mario Sunshine, I think it's a great game. But let's just move on, let's not go on to that too much. Because Super Mario Odyssey is unsurprisingly great. It's still the tight, crisp platformer that has a wide range of tricks to navigate each world, and each world in itself is so vividly detailed and colourful that they're an absolute joy to explore. I know some people felt that they were too easy to find moves, but I love the range of them in each world. Sure, some were super obvious, but then some were hidden away, while others were placed outright in the open and challenged you to find the difficult path to get to them. So as a result, it made them more satisfying to find, especially the ones that required such difficult paths to get to them. And then there's New Donk City. Who'd ever thought we'd see Mario in a world next to actual, normal human beings? It's so surreal and yet so much fun to look at. And I'd also put the Luncheon Kingdom up there as a close second in terms of design. Then of course, there's Cappy, the ghost thing that possesses Mario's cap and then in turn allows Mario to possess other non-hat wearing creatures. What's remarkable though is just how many different creatures there are, and how each one has a unique gimmick to it, which in turn helps you traverse each world. And then there's the dinosaur, which just kind of makes one appearance in an early level, and feels like it was more for the trailers, but it was still a kind of fun moment anyway. Okay, I think that's all my Switch games covered, so let's look at my non-Nintendo favourite games of the year. I started 2017 by getting chased around a swamp mansion in Louisiana by some crazy hillbilly family. Resident Evil 7 isn't the same reinvention of the franchise that Resident Evil 4 was, but it was still a massive step in the right direction for the otherwise struggling franchise. Boldly moving to a first-person perspective, dropping the action-heavy focus of previous entries and truly focusing on the ideas of survival and horror for the very genre it made popular, turned Resident Evil 7 into one of this year's standouts. It also helped that Resident Evil 7 took steps to distance itself from the lengthy history of the franchise without ignoring it entirely. Take protagonist Ethan Winters for example. He's not the mountain of muscles that Chris Redfield is, and he hasn't got the combat experience that Leon Kennedy has. So as a result, it made him more human, and more relatable as a result. Meanwhile, the Baker family are one of the most memorable villains in Resident Evil history. Whereas most villains have usually been about destroying the world with bioweapons, and because humanity deserves it, or they're greedy, or some generic trope, the Baker family just felt like a small, self-contained group that enjoyed torturing individuals, and it made them immensely more entertaining to deal with. All I can say is bravo Capcom. You might have utterly destroyed the Dead Rising franchise, but at least you managed to do something with Resident Evil 7. Let's just hope you don't mess it up. I approached Battlegrounds with caution. I'd never heard of it until suddenly it was on the front page of pretty much every website out there. Everyone was talking about it, so I decided to check it out. And man, it might be the most terrifying game of the year. It's a fairly simple premise: up to 100 players skydive out of a plane, onto a large island, scavenge weapons and equipment, then fight other players to the death until only one remains. You can fly solo, in pairs, or in squads of 4. It's not designed as a horror game, it's just a natural feeling caused by the game's very nature. So when you spend so long gathering loot and equipment, you start to feel like a kind of Superman. Then when the number of players gets lower and lower, you start to remember just how easily you can lose it all. My first time winning a Battlegrounds match is still a huge moment for me. The tension, the nerves, the sheer terror as I realised just how close to winning I was, yet how easily I could lose it. It's an incredible feeling once I killed the last guy, the sheer relief that it was over, that I won. I outlasted 99 other people to win. It was an incredible feeling. And I managed to win 5 games in total before the 1-0 release, and each was an incredible moment of satisfaction and relief. I love it. I can't wait to see how Battlegrounds shapes up. Let's just hope they keep working on the optimization.
Nice. Oh shit, it's you two and one other guy.
Fuck, Lynx.
Going.
I know where, I think I see, no. I see him! Bearing 125.
Yes!
Oh, yeah!
Yes! Good job.
My first squad win.
Nice, same here. Holy shit, same here.
Justice will break in the law, break in the world,
I don't really know why I bought Yakuza 0 to begin with. I've been vaguely aware of the franchise, but never really paid much attention to it. I just saw the game was on sale one day and decided to check it out, and what the fuck, I love Yakuza now! Seriously, I knew nothing other than that 0 was a prequel to the entire franchise, so I had no idea what to expect. But in the early moments of the game, when Kiryu decided the best way to put down a rather persistent attacker was to drop kick the guy out of a toilet window with such force that Kiryu nearly fell through the window himself, I knew this was the kind of game I could love. Yakuza 0 is a game of two halves. One follows the early days of the franchise's long-running main character Kiryu as he's framed for murder, while the other sees another long-running character in the franchise, Goro Majima, finding himself fighting off attackers from all directions to protect someone. If I had to choose, I think I liked Majima's story more. Kiryu's felt like it spent too long building to the closing moments, while Majima's felt more exciting while still maintaining an air of mystery and suspense. But as I reached the final chapters of both men's campaigns and found the game unravelling into its closing moments, I found myself ignoring almost everything else because I genuinely wanted to know how this story was going to end. And while the story had a lot of serious, heartfelt moments, the combat would often reach almost cartoonish levels of violence. It's a pretty simple mix of arcade-inspired button mashing with a touch of timing to inflict heavy damage. But one thing that never got old was heat actions. Brutal attacks that inflict heavy amounts of damage, often in the most amusingly silly ways. Yakuza is one of those rare games that can blend emotionally charged storytelling, heavy focus on characterization, and moments of batshit insanity. I loved every second of Zero, and I can't wait to play even more Yakuza, with Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2 on the way. I mean, I almost called Yakuza 0 my game of the year until this next game stepped up and stole my heart entirely during the final weeks of 2017. No game has truly captured my attention in the way Persona 5 has. I started playing it shortly before Christmas and oh my god, I haven't played anything else for the past couple of weeks. The only reason this video is finally getting made is because I finished the game recently. But all I want to do is just go start a New Game Plus playthrough because oh my god, it's so good! It's a JRPG in which a group of school kids discover a supernatural world known as the Metaverse, where individuals whose desires have become so warped and twisted that it manifests itself in the form of a palace in the Metaverse to represent how they view the world. So of course, said school kids set out to steal the treasure of these palaces in the hopes that it will cause the palace owner to have a change of heart and confess to all their sins. It's a part heist game, part school life, part social life simulator, and it all works. If you're not developing your infiltration route through the palace, you're studying hard for exams, working jobs to earn money, or hanging out with your friends to strengthen relationships. So a big part of the game is trying to plan out each day to make sure you're making plenty of progress with little wasted time. The thing I've loved most about this game though is the characters. While your character is largely just a mute, generic avatar designed to serve as your portal to the game's universe, the characters that fill out the story feel so well written and likeable that it adds another layer to the story. The reason it works so well is because of how each character is given plenty of screen time to help you learn about them and understand their history. So when the moment came for them to awaken their personas and join the fight, I felt so damn excited. And the combat is another great element. It's turn-based and sees you and your three party members using their personas, which each have different strengths and weaknesses. The key to winning fights is to exploit each one's strengths and weaknesses. It feels almost Pokemon-esque in nature, which might be why I like it so much. Instead of dumping them inside a box though, weaker personas can be merged together to create all new stronger personas to aid you in your phantom thievery. I only just finished it after an unreal 105 hours of playtime, but it kept me hooked and interested all the way through. I loved every second of it and all I want to do is go play it all over again. So I think I'm just going to go do that. So bye I guess. Thanks for watching. You know, do the like, the comment and the subscribe thing. Help us grow. And I hope Owen's working on his video, I don't know. He didn't make one last year, so you know. Let's hope he actually does it this year. And he's going to kill me for that comment probably. So, thanks for watching I guess.